The following program has been rated PG-13.
Shalom, Israel, giving honor and praise to the Most High God for the reading and the understanding of His Word. And I just want to say happy Sabbath out there to all of Israel. And I'm so glad to be with y'all today. And I say that and I mean it because of today's lesson. There's going to be a hell of a lot of y'all that's going to be pissed off with me today, but hey, it is what it is, because we are going to be talking about none other than birthdays. And I know this is such a sore subject out of all of Israel, but we are going to get down with this today. We are going to let the scriptures talk, and there will be no opinions. We are going to go directly to the Bible and see what the Most High has to say about birthdays and how and why and what they pertain to Israel, all right? And our ancestors are going to be talking to us today, all right? So let's go ahead and jump right into this. So now I want you to open your Bibles. I'm reading from the 1611 King James Version Bible. Now, for a lot of you that don't have this here yet, I want you to download the 1611 King James Version Bible with the Apocrypha. All right, so if you go into your search, whether it be the Play Store or iTunes, I want you to type in KJVA, and that's going to pull it up, and it's going to give you all of the original books of the Bible, all right? So, with that being said, let's go ahead and jump right in. So first, let me talk about birthdays here for a second and pretty much the behavior of a birthday. Now, of course, your birthday is the day you were born, right? Yeah. So, there's a certain something that happens on your birthday for those who actually celebrate it. Now, we're going to break this down in sections today, because I want to cover everything. We're going to start this off. Number one, we're going to deal with self-idolatry, idols, idol worship. Because, as you know, when you celebrate your birthday, you are the painted picture, the elephant in the room, so to speak. You are the subject matter. So you're putting yourself on this pedestal. You're putting yourself up here, and you are basically having people worship you and focus all their attention on you that day, and it's taking it away from the Most High. So without even giving any scripture, that's already a problem. But like I said, no opinions. We're going to let the scripture speak. So the first thing I want to go to Ezekiel Chapter 14. Because like I said, I want to deal with idolatry, okay? We're going to start there first. Like I said, I'm going to break this down in sections. So that's Old Testament. And we're going to Ezekiel Chapter 14. I'm going to start at verse 1. And it reads, "Then came certain of the elders of Israel," not the whole world, here's the subject matter, Israel, "unto me, and sat before me. And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, these men have set up their idols in their heart." Okay? Set up these idols in their heart, within, in themselves. "And put the stumbling block of their iniquity, their sin, before their face. Should I be inquired of at all by them? Therefore speak unto them, and say unto them, Thus saith the Lord God, every man of the house of Israel," again, not the whole world, "that setteth up his idols in his heart, and putteth the stumbling block of his iniquities before his face, and cometh to the prophet, I, the Lord, will answer him that cometh according to the multitude of his idols." Now, I'm not sure if you got that. But the Most High said for the person who sets up an idol in his heart, that the Most High was going to deal with that person. All right, let's continue. Verse 5. That I may take the house of Israel in their own heart, because they are all estranged from me through their idols. So what is that saying? The Most High said that we are removing ourselves from him because we are focusing on idols. All right, let's continue. Verse 6. Therefore, say unto the house of Israel. Now, I just want to make sure that I keep bringing that up there. Do you see how this is only pertaining to Israel and not the whole world? And you're going to find out why. And I'm stressing that there for a reason. You will find out. I'm going to read it again. Therefore, say unto the house of Israel, thus saith the Lord God, repent and turn yourselves from your idols. In other words, turn around from your idols. Run from your idols. Get away from that type of behavior. And turn away your faces from all your abominations. So do you see now, an abomination is a great hatred that the Most High has for something. And he's calling these idols, these self idols that's in their heart right now. And trust me when I tell you, we're going to go deep into that, right? Guess what? The Most High is telling you, get away from that. This is a warning that he's giving Israel. Verse 7. For everyone of the house of Israel, or of the stranger that sojourneth in Israel, and let me stop right there for those of you who may run out of course with that. This is talking about another Israelite. As you see it, it says in Israel. All right, so not the other nations. Israel. Which separateth himself from me, and setteth up his idols in his heart, here he said it again, and putteth the stumbling block of his iniquity, sin, before his face, and cometh to a prophet to inquire of him concerning me. Listen to this next line. I, the Lord, will answer him by myself. Now, I know the church didn't teach you that. The Most High said for the man, that's man, woman, child, who set themselves up as an idol, he was going to deal with that person himself, face to face. That ain't something that you want to do. If the Most High has to deal with you personally, you have a great problem coming before you. Verse 8. And I will set my face against that man, and will make him a sign and a proverb. The Most High is saying, I'm going to step to this person face to face, and I'm going to make him a sign and a proverb. In other words, the Most High is going to make an example out of this person. And I will cut him off from the midst of my people, and ye shall know that I am the Lord. Do you see what the Most High said there? He is going to step to that person. He's going to take that prophet and tell that prophet, move back. I got this. And I'm going to step to the person, and I'm going to deal with that person myself. And I'm going to make an example out of him. Nobody. I'm going to tell you right now, nobody wants any of that right there. No, thank you. All right. So now that was that. So now I want to go to Proverbs chapter 25. You're going to read verse 27. That's Old Testament. All right. We're going to continue to deal with this self-idolatry. Okay. So that's Proverbs chapter 25, verse 27. All right. Listen to what this says right here. It is not good to eat much honey. All right. So it's telling you right here, don't be greedy. Don't be greedy. So now there's a colon after that. Now remember what we talked about with the colon. The colon is put in place so that the first part can emphasize the next part of the sentence. And here it is. So for men to search their own glory is not glory. So the Most High is telling you here, don't be greedy. Do not self-glorify yourself. All right? That's pretty simple. So now I want to go to Matthew chapter 23, New Testament, and I'm going to be going back and forth. Old Testament, New Testament. Precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little. So that's Matthew chapter 23, and we're going to go to verse 12. Now, this is out of the mouth of Jesus Christ himself. Listen to what our big brother says. And whosoever shall exalt himself shall be abased. So now, that's not an everyday term. So now let's go and let's find out what the term abased mean. All right, because like I said, when I want to break something down, I'm going to break it all the way down. Okay, so abase, verb. Behave in a way that belittles or degrades someone. That self-exaltation, putting yourself high up. So now let's go back. Matthew 23 and verse 12. I'm going to read it from the beginning. Now remember, coming out of Christ's mouth himself. And whosoever shall exalt himself shall be abased. And he that shall humble himself shall be exalted. So the Most High is saying, all right, for those of you that want to put yourself high, he's going to abase you, belittle you. But for those of you that want to remain humble, keep yourself down here. Be humble and follow those commandments. Those of us that are doing that, we will be exalted. That's out of the mouth of Christ himself. That's what he said. Now, I want to go to Galatians Chapter 6, and we're going to read verse 3. All right, so now this is coming from Paul. All right, Galatians Chapter 6 and verse 3. And it reads, For if a man think himself to be something, when he is nothing, he deceiveth himself. So now you have these birthday parties and everything like that. I want to make sure that y'all get this fully. So now you set yourselves up to be put in these positions of self-glorification, you know? And the only way that I can really do this, I just love to give examples. You already know. Now, this is male and female, but I'm sorry, but you sisters, you guys are really the bigger offenders of this, all right? Now, you can look all over social media, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever it is, but all of the little stupid videos I see or whatever are of these women. And the thing is, it be young and old sisters too, you know? Drinks in their hand, hey bitch, it's my birthday and all that stuff or whatever. Ridiculous. You can't be doing that. You really can't be doing that. Doesn't matter how old you are, you cannot be doing that. So for male, female, you need to be teaching not only yourselves, but not only your people, but also your children, that you cannot be celebrating your birthdays like this. And by the time this lesson is done, you're going to see we cannot do this, all right? So like I said, I just wanted to throw that little nugget in there. So now, let me read this again. For if a man think himself to be something when he is nothing, he deceiveth himself. You deceive yourself when you think that you are something like that. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's nonsense. It is foolishness. Now, what I wanted to do there, I wanted to season the meat before we actually start cooking, because we didn't get to the good stuff yet. But I wanted to cover that part first so that you can see the idolatry and the pretty much the self-worship, all right? I want to get there. Now, what we're going to do is cover what the prophets, the apostles, our ancestors felt about the day of their birth and what message that they're sending to us about their birthdays. All right. So the first thing I want to go to Jeremiah. And as you see, we tend to stick in the book of Jeremiah because I love Jeremiah. Jeremiah chapter 20. And we're going to read verse 14. All right, here we go. Listen closely. Cursed be the day wherein I was born. Let's stop for a second. What did he just say? Cursed be the day wherein I was born. He's telling us, curse the day that he was born. Not celebrate it, curse it. Let's continue. Let not the day wherein my mother bare me be blessed. So the prophet Jeremiah said, number one, curse the day that I was born and the day that my mother pushed me out. Don't celebrate this day. Don't let it be blessed. Now we're going to get the definition of a blessing. I'm telling y'all because a lot of you, y'all try to interpret that in so many other ways, and it says, don't bless this day. So let's go ahead and get the definition. Blessing, God's favor or protection. And the prophet Jeremiah just said, don't bless this day. Right? Very simple. So now I want to go to the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7 and verse 1. Ecclesiastes, chapter 7 and verse 1. Listen to what this says. A good name is better than precious ointment, and the day of death than the day of one's birth. Do you understand what that says? It's saying it is better for you to die than it is for you to be born. Isn't that crazy? So our ancestors, our prophets are telling us, listen, don't celebrate the day that you are born. And not only that, but it is so much better to die and leave this planet than it is to be born coming in. Right there tells you now. Now I want to go back to Jeremiah. I want to go to Jeremiah chapter 20, and we're going to read verse 18. Jeremiah chapter 20 and verse 18. And it reads, Wherefore came I forth out of the womb to see labor and sorrow, that my days should be consumed with shame. So I'm going to read that again just in case you didn't get it. Wherefore I came forth out of the womb to see labor and sorrow. Do you get that there? What is the prophet Jeremiah here saying? On the day that he came out of the womb, it was going to be instant labor and sorrow. What is that talking about, Israel? That is talking about slavery. All the things that we deal with, the slavery, rape, murder, all the things that we go through as a nation. And he said, right out of the womb, labor and sorrow. All right, so now I want to go to the book of Job. And we're going to stay here for a little bit. The book of Job. And everybody knows the story of Job, right? The horrible thing that has happened to Job. You're going to find out some stuff here that I know the church has never taught you. You're going to find out. But I want to go to Job chapter 3. I want to jump ahead because I want to go ahead and match something up and show you some precepts here, all right? So I want to start at Job chapter 3, and I'm going to read verse 1, all right? And here it is. After this opened Job his mouth and cursed his day. Now you're going to find out what his day means right now. And Job spake and said, let the day perish wherein I was born. So what is his day? The day he was born. What is the day that you are born? Your birthday. And the night in which it was said, there is a man-child conceived. Let that day be darkness. let not God regard it from above, neither let the light shine upon it. So let me stop. Now remember what we read there in Jeremiah, where he said, don't bless this day. So there is Jeremiah and now Job saying it there as well. Precepts, this is why I always tell y'all, write this down. Verse 5. Let darkness and the shadow of death stain it. Now remember, this is talking about the day he was born, his birthday. Now we already read where it says that we are not to celebrate this day. This day is not supposed to be blessed. Do you see what Job is talking about here? And you're going to find out why he's saying this. Let darkness and the shadow of death stain it. Let a cloud dwell upon it. Let the blackness of the day terrify it. Now, I want y'all to remember verse 6 here, Job 3 and 6. This is going to be important later. I want you to remember this. As for that night, let darkness seize upon it. Let it not be joined unto the days of the year. Let it not come into the numbers of the months. Now, I want you to remember that part. Let it not come into the number of the months. That's going to mean something later, and I want you to remember that. All right? Verse 7. Lo, let that night be solitary. Let no joyful voice come therein. I'm going to read that again. Let no joyful voice come therein. Happy birthday to you. No. Shut up. Don't let anybody sing that song to you. Right here, according to the prophet Job. Now remember, Job was a just man. This man was who God suggested to Satan because he was so just and he was so righteous. Remember that. Okay? Remember that. And he's telling you, don't let nobody sit and glorify you on his day. Don't do it. Now, from verse 1 all the way down right now to verse 7, he's talking about the day he was born. He's talking about his birthday. Verse 8. Let them curse it that curse the day, who are ready to raise up their mourning. Let the stars of the twilight thereof be dark. Let it look for light, but have none. Neither let it see the dawning of the day. He's saying, shut that birthday crap down. Verse 10. Because it shut not up the doors of my mother's womb, nor hid sorrow from mine eyes. Now remember, we read about this the time of sorrow and labor, remember? And here he is reiterating it again. So now, we learned what his day is, right? We have the definition of his day. His day means birthday, right? Okay, so now we're going to go backwards. I want you to go to Job chapter 1, verse 1. Now, like I said, we have to start seasoning, right? And we have to put the seasoning down, so now we got to start cooking. So now we're about to start cooking. Here it is. I'm going to read this, so we're just going to go through this, all right? Job chapter 1, verse 1. There was a man in the land of Uz, whose name was Job. That's who we just start reading about in verse 3, in chapter 3. And that man was perfect and upright. He was a just man, like I said earlier. And one that feared God and eschewed evil. And there were born unto him 7 sons and 3 daughters, 10 kids. His substance also was 7,000 sheep and 3,000 camels and 500 yoke of oxen and 500 she-asses and a very great household, so that this man was the greatest of all the men of the east. So in other words, it's saying that Job was a very rich man. Rich, wealthy man who was upright and perfect. So it goes to show you right there, when you are upright and perfect and you keep the commandments, the Most High will bless you. Verse 4. Listen closely. And his sons went and feasted in their houses, every one his day. Let me stop. So what's happening right here? I'm going to read it again. And his sons went and feasted, meaning they were eating, feasted. So you know what a feast is? Eating, drinking, being merry, partying, celebrating. In their houses, their houses. So let me continue. Everyone his day. What was happening here? They were celebrating their birthdays in their houses. Let me continue. And sent and called for their 3 sisters to eat and to drink with them. So now here it is. Here's the 10 kids, the 7 brothers, 3 daughters, and they sent for their sisters to come celebrate with us on our birthdays. Here it is. Verse 5. And it was so, when the days of their feasting were gone about, that Job sent and sanctified them, and rose up early in the morning and offered burnt offerings according to the number of them all. For Job said, it may be that my sons have sinned. Oh, snap. What just happened? They are celebrating their birthdays. And so Job is like, it was in his spirit. He said, I got to get up. I got to get out of bed. And I need to sacrifice. I need to offer a burnt offering because my sons, my children have sinned. So there's the definition right there of celebrating your birthday. When you celebrate your birthday, it is a sin. And cursed God in their hearts. And cursed God in their hearts. I'm going to read that one more damn time. And cursed God in their hearts. Thus did Job continually. All right? That makes sense. Okay, so now I want to go ahead. I want to jump down to verse 18. Now we're going to turn the heat up. Let's get this baby cooking. Here we go. Verse 18. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, thy sons and daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. So what was happening? Remember, they were feasting, remember? And behold, there came a great wind from the wilderness and smote the 4 corners of the house, and it fell upon the young men, and they are dead. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee. So what did the Most High do to the sons when they were celebrating their birthdays? He sent winds that caved the house in and dropped the house on them and killed them. Why? Celebrating their birthdays. So you have so many people who will, quote the book of Job or whatever, say, it was so awful. How could the Most High God do that to them? How could the Most High God just kill all of Job's kids and everything like that? Because they were sinning. They were celebrating their birthday and the Most High God wiped them out. And you wonder why in Israel so many of these things happen to us, why we still continue to get gunned down, why our kids get kidnapped, why our women get raped, murdered, tortured, why all these different things keep happening in Israel. Why? Because we want to continue to celebrate our birthdays and do all these things that the Most High God told us not to. And guess what? He's picking us off one by one. I'm telling y'all, this is serious. Straight up serious. Now, I want to go to Romans. Romans chapter 6 and verse 3, I believe. Romans chapter 6 and verse 23. Listen to this. For the wages of sin is death. What just happened to Job's kids? The Most High God put them to death. Why? Because they sinned. The wages means payment. The payment for sin is death. But the gift of God is eternal life through Jesus Christ our Lord. Now, I want to make sure I bring this out here, because a lot of people won't get this. A lot of people say, well, you Israelites, all y'all do is teach about the Lord. You forget about Christ. And for every person that say that, you are an idiot. The only reason why we are alive today, the only reason why I'm able to sit here and be able to serve you on this Sabbath day is because of the grace that Christ has allowed us. The grace time is now to get everything right. That is the importance of why Christ came and died for us, so that we can remain alive and continue to carry out the commandments like the Most High God told us to. That's why. And there's no other reason why. Christ is the reason why you are watching this right now, and that you are not in the damn grave waiting for the second death. So for any idiot that wants to say that we don't teach about Christ, you are a fool. You are a moron. Point blank. All right, so now I want to go to 2 Maccabees chapter 6, and we're going to start at verse 6. 2 Maccabees chapter 6, and I'm starting at verse 6. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up here now is because I want you to, now we're going to start to get into the things that the Most High told us not to do. But there is something very significant here about 2 Maccabees, all right? And let's go ahead and do this. Verse 6. Neither was, well, let me stop. Let me give some history. Sorry about that. I'm really, really sorry about that. Now, this is the time of Maccabees. The Israelites were in power previous to this. Now, when we started breaking the law, we started sinning and breaking all the commandments, the Most High God sent the Edomites on us. And we lost our power. And now the Edomites are taking over. And this is the beginning stages of this, and I want you to see what's going on here so that you can have the proper context of what's going on. That's why I stopped. All right, so verse 6. Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient fasts, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew. Now, there's a lot of meat on that bone right there, all right? So it says, neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days. So when the Edomites came into power, they were taking away our heritage, cutting us off, discontinuing us from our heritage, just like Deuteronomy chapter 28 tells us. All right? Where we were discontinued from our heritage. And this is what's happening now. Just showing you, this is a precept going back to the book of Deuteronomy 28. So we could not keep the Sabbath. Because why? That was a holy day. And whenever we do the commandments, keep the commandments, we are put in power. So why did these Edomites tell us we could not keep these laws? Because when we break the commandments, it keeps them in power. This is why y'all need to get out them damn Sunday churches. Or ancient fast, because remember, it is a commandment that we have to fast as well. Okay? Or profess himself at all to be a Jew. We could not say that we were Israelites. We could not say that we were Jews. We had to deny our nationality, which is why we have names like African Americans today, Mexicans, Guatemalans, Jamaicans, Trinidadians, Guyanese, Native Americans, so on and so forth. All right. So now, verse 7. And in the day of the king's birth, every month they were brought by bitter constraint to eat of the sacrifices. Now, remember when I told you that I wanted you to remember Job chapter 3 and verse 6? Remember, I'm going to read it again. And in the day of the king's birth. So what are we talking about now? In the days of the king's birthday. This is talking about a king's birthday. Every month they brought their bitter constraint to eat of their sacrifices. So now what's happening? It just told us here in verse 6 that they were pretty much forcing the Israelites to go against the laws of the Most High God, right? What was one of those laws? That we could not celebrate birthdays. So now we're being forced to. And remember in Job, right? Remember in Job when it was talking about every month that they were celebrating? This is what they were doing. Here it is, showing again that it's unlawful to do that. Now, with this here with the king, let's say, for instance, if the king's birthday was on January 1st, right? So it'll be January 1st, February 1st, March, April, so on and so forth. For that, the day of the first, that they would celebrate their birthday. They would celebrate their birthday every month. That's what the same thing they were doing in Job. And here, so let's continue. I'm going to read it again, verse 7. And in the day of the king's birth, every month, they were brought by bitter constraint to eat of the sacrifices. So they were forcing the Israelites to come to their birthday celebration. We're going to get into those birthday celebrations too. And when the fast of Bacchus was kept, and that's for a lot of the tribe of Benjamin know about Bacchus, all right? That your West Indian festival, the Bacalao, or whatever it is that y'all call it. Y'all are still celebrating that evil, disgusting holiday glorification day. You still do it today. And when the fast of Bacchus was kept, the Jews were compelled to go in procession to Bacchus carrying ivy. So there you see that the Israelites were forced to do this. They were forced to celebrate birthdays. Verse 8. Sorry about that. Verse 8. Moreover, there went out a decree to the neighbor cities of the heathen by the suggestion of here's another one. Ptolemy, against the Jews, that they should observe the same fashions and be partakers in their sacrifices. You see that? So what was happening, they were going out and rounding up all the Jews and being like, nah, y'all gonna come in here. Y'all are going to celebrate these birthdays. I don't care what your God said. You are going to celebrate these birthdays and you're going to break the law of your God of Israel. I'm telling you, this is deep. This is really, really deep. And here it is, all the way to today. We still celebrate this, even though the Bible is telling us we are not to celebrate these days. All right, so now we are going to get into the history of why we are not to celebrate these days. So now I want you to go to Genesis chapter 40, and we're going to read verse 20. Genesis chapter 40 and verse 20. Here it is. And it came to pass the third day, which was Pharaoh's birthday. So let me stop. Now, who is Pharaoh? Pharaoh was a king in Egypt. What was our position in Egypt, Israel? We were slaves. Again, under captivity. Why? Because we broke the Most High's commandments. So now what's happening? This is Pharaoh's birthday. Let's find out what happened on Pharaoh's birthday. I'm going to start from the beginning. And it came to pass the third day, which was Pharaoh's birthday, that he made a feast unto all his servants. A feast. Here's that feast day again, that celebration to all his servants. Us, our ancestors. And he lifted up the head of the chief butler and of the chief baker among his servants. Verse 21. And he restored the chief butler unto his butlership again. And he gave the cup into Pharaoh's hand. But he hanged the chief baker. He hanged him. He killed your ancestor. As Joseph had interrupted them. Yet did not the chief butler remember Joseph, but forgot him. So what happened? On Pharaoh's birthday, he killed one of your ancestors. This is not the only instance, but this is what would happen. It was customary that on a birthday of someone of the other nations, that they would kill Israelites. And Lord, let me tell you something right now. You don't want to hear about the damn president's birthdays. That's a whole nother thing there. But the things that oh my God, the thing they should do to us on their birthdays, boy. Woo! So, but like that, and that's what I'm gonna get into. So this is gonna be a whole nother lesson. So now I want to go to Matthew. Now remember, this was Old Testament. I want to go to Matthew, chapter 14 and verse 6. All right. So remember, that was Pharaoh back then. Now here come under Edomite rulership. Now remember, the book of Matthew. We were in captivity under Herod, who was an Edomite. All right, here it is. But when Herod's birthday was kept, remember, birthday of an Edomite, both of them are the nations. The daughter of Herodias danced before them and pleased Herod. So what happened? This little white girl came out and was dancing for Herod, and pretty much she pleased him. I keep it PG, but y'all know what I want to say. Whereupon he promised with an oath to give her whatsoever she would ask. All right, so today let's to keep it PG, but let's just say it's I want to make sure I word this right. It's a very sensual lap dance. I'll just leave it there. You get the point. Okay. Verse 9. And the king was sorry, nevertheless, for the oath's sake, and them which sat with him at meat, he commanded it to be given to her. So she put it on him pretty much, and she worked him. And he was like, look, he's like, oh man, this is so good. Whatever you want, girl, whatever you want, you can have. All right. And so now everybody was round about him and everything. So he made her a promise. He made an oath to her. And so now let's find out what this little white girl wanted. Okay, here it is. Verse 10. And wait, let me see. Nope, I started, sorry. Verse 7. Let me start back at verse 7. Whereupon he promised with an oath to give her whatsoever she would ask. Verse 8. Sorry about that. And she, being before instructed of her mother, so her mother's telling her this is what she wants, said, give me here John Baptist's head in a charger. So the mother went ahead and influenced the daughter to say, hey, we want John the Baptist's head on a charger. Now, who is John the Baptist? John the Baptist is the cousin of Christ, the one who paved the way for Christ to get here. An Israelite, our ancestor. So what happened here? On Herod's birthday, this little white girl went ahead, because of her mother, and said, I want John the Baptist's head in a charger. Now, do you know what a charger is? A charger is, it's a silver platter that has that top on it. Pretty much what you serve your Thanksgiving turkey on. Not knowing what the hell that represents. I told y'all before when we talked about holidays on other lessons and stuff like that, all the little things that they do, it all has a significance. And so when you bring them when you have these feasts and all that stuff that you are not supposed to be celebrating in the first place, and here it is, you bring this damn thing on a silver platter, and it's on a charger, it's a representation of the death of your ancestors. I'm telling you, this is crazy. This is why the Most High was telling us, don't do what they do. Don't do it. All right. So let's see. Let's continue. Verse Let me start at verse 9. And the king was sorry, nevertheless, for the oath's sake, and them which sat with him at the meat, he commanded it to be given to her, and he sent and beheaded John in the prison. Cut his head off on his birthday. So as you can see where all this is going when it has to do with the birthdays. They were killing us on their birthdays. All right, but we're not done. Let's continue. So now I want to go to Deuteronomy chapter 12. And we're going to go to verse 29. All right, Deuteronomy chapter 12 and verse 29. Because now we're going to get into what the Most High told us to do and not to do. All right, verse 29. When the Lord thy God shall cut off the nations from before thee, whither thou goest to possess them. I'm going to get into this here in a second. And thou succeedest them and dwellest in their land. So what's happening right here? So the Most High, now the Israelites are coming back into power at this point. Now remember, this is Deuteronomy 12. This is before Moses gave us the blessings versus the curses. All right. So the Israelites are in power right now, and the Most High is sending them and telling them, listen. But let me continue. And remember, we are going to the nations to possess them. What does that mean? They will be our slaves. Remember, history repeats itself. So that was back then, and is also going to happen in the last days as well. All right. Remember, there's nothing new under the sun, according to Solomon. Verse 30. Take heed to thyself that thou be not snared by following them. So what's it saying? You are going to take over these other nations, and you are not to do the things that they used to do. Don't follow behind them. You are the masters. You are the rulers now. All right? Let me not get ahead of myself. Let me continue. After that, they be destroyed from before thee, and that thou inquire not after their gods. Don't go after their gods. Don't worship their idols, including yourself, saying, how did these nations serve their gods? Even so will I do likewise. So he's saying, listen, he's saying, don't ask no questions about how they serve their gods and say that, okay, well, you're going to do what they do. You see how ignorant Israel was? All the way back then, there's nothing different. Verse 31, thou shalt not do so unto the Lord thy God, for every abomination to the Lord which he hateth. So the Most High is telling you all these abominations that you do, he hates. Have they done unto their gods, for even their sons and their daughters they have burnt in the fire to their gods. The sons and their daughters, guess what? Who does that include? Job's kids. What thing soever I command you, observe to do it. Thou shalt not add thereto, nor diminish from it. So you see what the Most High is saying there? He's saying, everything that I told you to do, you are to do it. Don't add to it. Don't take away from it. What I told you to do, that is the only thing you are to do. All right? That's simple, right? Now, let's go to Revelation. So now, again, I want to point this out. That was Old Testament. Now it's New Testament, the book of Revelation. And remember, you don't get any more New Testament than Revelation. It's the last book. All right? Chapter 18 and verse 4. Here it is. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people. Just like we just read in Deuteronomy, saying, come out of the nations. Here it is again in Revelation, the precept. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers in her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. That's simple. That's a precept. It's saying the same thing. Remember, history repeats itself all the way back then and now. All the way back then and now. Okay? So now, Jeremiah chapter 10. And we went over this not that long ago. Jeremiah chapter 10, and I'm going to start at verse 1. Okay? Old Testament, New Testament. Old Testament, New Testament. Precept upon precept, line upon line. Here a little, Old Testament, there a little, New Testament, or whichever way that you want to do that. Okay. Chapter 10, verse 1. Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, we just heard that word, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. He tells you again right there, don't do what the other nations do. The other nations are heathens. He's telling you, don't do what they do. Now, Hebrews chapter 10, New Testament, Hebrews chapter 10 and verse 26. I'm going to read this to you, and I really want y'all to pay attention. Listen close. For if we sin willfully, after that we have received the knowledge of the truth, there remaineth no more sacrifices for sins. And I want to make sure y'all get that. I want to make sure you understand that. I want to make sure that I drill that in your head. I'm going to read it again. For if we sin willfully, after that we have received the knowledge of the truth, there remaineth no more sacrifice for sins. That's a promise. What is the Most High telling you right there? The Most High is saying, once you come into this truth, you hear this word, and you go out and you celebrate your birthday after I told you in my book, in my instructions to you, Israel, and you dare celebrate that birthday, I'm not dealing with you. There's no sacrifice for sins. That's New Testament, by the way. That's coming from Paul. The same man that Christ cracked the sky on and dealt with him personally. Now, I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you a video. I'm not going to tell you what it is. I just want you to watch it. All right? Here we go. Did you see that? Did you see what that whole atmosphere was? What was that? That was a birthday party. And here it is, a little white girl pulling one of your ancestors on a damn chain. That is what birthdays were all about. You were the gifts during slavery. And yet, this is something that you glorify, you celebrate, and you were the slave. We're still slaves to this day. All the way back then, all the way from the book of Genesis to now, and in the book of Revelation, it tells us, do not celebrate birthdays. This is why the Most High told us don't do it. This is complete blasphemy, not only against the Most High, but against your own people. That video was one of the most horrifying and disgusting things I've ever seen. I remember my heart dropped when I first saw that. Like, ain't this a bitch? Like, are you serious? And that image has never gotten out of my head. Never. So now, even like I said, on the time of the birthdays and everything like that, I really want you to get the image, get the visual. And I hate talking about this. I'm not proud to talk about this at all. But to you sisters, I want y'all to understand this. That they used to take our ancestors, our aunts, uncles, grandmothers. They would rip them from their families and present this woman to some nasty Edomite as his sex slave. And the things that they used to do to not only the sisters, more the sisters, but also the men, your children, your little girls, our nieces, our daughters, our sons. And they used to give them to them on their birthday so that they can rape them and do all the horrible, disgusting acts, the things that they used to make them do to them. And this has nothing to do with it, but just think about this. Think about their hygiene back then. Do y'all understand why the Most High is telling us don't be celebrating these days? For all of the horrible debauchery that used to go on during that time. And we dare celebrate this day. So now that you know that even all the prophets were saying don't celebrate these damn birthdays at all. Now you know why. So now the question remains, is it something that you're going to do going forward? Seriously. And let me tell you right now, for a person that has a birthday set up or something like that, cancel it. I'm going to tell you right now out the gate. Cancel it. And we need to be teaching our children, don't be celebrating this day. No. Show them the verses where it says, listen, you are to curse this day. That's what we're supposed to be teaching. It doesn't matter whether or not if they get teary-eyed and they're pouting and they're turning on the waterworks. I want to celebrate my birthday. Shut up. This is what the Bible says. This is what the Most High said we cannot do. Now, is there anything wrong with buying your children gifts throughout the year? Absolutely not. Don't do it on this day. Okay? No observation of a birthday. Don't do it. Like I said, if you want to get your child something throughout the throughout the year, whatever, absolutely. Sure, I have no problem with getting you anything. But we're not celebrating your birthday. That's easy. The same way where you can get them gifts throughout the year, and you don't have to celebrate Christmas. You don't have to. Don't. I'm telling you right now, don't. All right? You better, you fathers, you better man up. All right? You husbands, you better man up. Because there's going to be a lot of sisters coming at you with this here. Well, I want to celebrate their birthday. No. 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 Okay? The Most High said no. And if you have a problem with that or whatever, take it up with him. Because I already know, like I said, a lot of sisters, y'all will get so evil with your husbands, whatever, when they do something that the Most High tells them to do and it doesn't go according to your plan. I'm telling you right now, this is where a lot of that separation comes in, where the unequally yoked. I'm telling you. But brothers, y'all better man up and you better stick to the scriptures. Because that lady is going to get you killed. As you saw what the Most High did with Job's sons. Took them out. I'm telling you, this is nothing to play with at all. There was warning after warning after warning from the prophets. Not only from the prophet, but didn't Christ say, don't exalt yourself? All right. Now, with that being said, I want to go to the last verse. I want to go to Colossians Chapter 2 and verse 8. Colossians Chapter 2 and verse 8. Here it is. Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit. Worthless deceit. You know what deceit is? Let's get the definition of deceit. Like I said, we always must get the proper definition of things so that if anybody try to come to you with any type of stupidity, you can tell them shut the hell up. Listen to this. The action or practice of deceiving someone by concealing or misrepresenting the truth. Let's go back to Colossians, now that you have the proper definition. Beware, lest any man spoil you through philosophy or vain deceit, after the tradition of men who celebrate their birthdays, the tradition of men, the other nations. Remember, Israel, we're gods, not men. Remember that. We are gods, not men. So the Most High, as you saw, as we read all throughout today, don't be deceived by what these other nations tell you to do. And that's pretty much, let me finish. After the rudiments of the world and not after Christ. There you have it, Israel. Plain and simple. So I'm telling you right now, after you reading that, and after all the study that we've done today, if you go back and celebrate your birthday, you are a damn fool. And whatever happens to you, you deserve it. Don't celebrate your birthday. Do not celebrate your children's birthday. Don't celebrate your wife's birthday. Don't celebrate your husband's birthday. Don't celebrate anyone's birthday in Israel. And for damn sure, don't celebrate an Edomite's birthday. You already know, a lot of y'all have a lot of Edomite friends and stuff like that. I'm telling you right now, they're leading you to death. Leading you straight to death. Promised by the Most High. Promised. Y'all better get that. I'm telling you. This is serious. This is serious business when it comes to these birthdays. I'm telling you right now. That's why they put so much emphasis on it. That's why there's so many cards. It doesn't matter where you go. Any store, there's birthday cards or something like that somewhere, all right? Don't do it. You've been warned against it. All right? I'm telling y'all, this is for your own good. It is a matter of life and death. Just remember Job. Just remember Job. Not only Job, but remember Genesis. Remember Pharaoh and remember Herod. What they were doing, they were killing us. Remember the visual of your ancestors being pulled on a chain by that little white girl. Now I'm telling you, see they were young kids. Nobody was able to escape. Remember in Deuteronomy it said they'll have no regard for the young or the old. Remember that? All the curses just come upon us time after time after time. I'm telling y'all, this is serious business, and we have to be about our business in Israel, regardless of who feels what about what. It doesn't matter. We're going to do what the Most High told us to do, and that's the bottom line. All right? So, with that being said, Israel, I thank y'all again for spending this time here with me. Thank you for spending this Sabbath with me. And again, when y'all see each other out there, love each other, hug each other, grab each other by the neck or whatever. Yo, tell your brothers and sisters, yo, I love y'all, man. All right? Yo, tell them. Because this is practice for the kingdom. All right? So with that being said, Israel, I love y'all. I'm out.